The observation station drifted silently above Earth, its black hull blending seamlessly with the void. It had been there for over a century, a relic of the alien race known as the Zereth. They had monitored humanity's every move, watching with cold detachment as wars were waged, cities burned, and oceans rose. To the Zereth, humans were nothing more than a curiosity, a volatile species doomed to self-destruction. Commander XYRL sat at the central console, their four slender arms resting on the controls. Their compound eyes flickered with faint light as they reviewed the latest reports. The data was always the same: minor technological advancements, political squabbles, and an unshakable dependence on their fragile planet. "They'll never leave," XYRL muttered to themselves, their voice a soft hum. "They're tethered to their gravity well, incapable of true evolution." But just as the words left their mouth, an alert flashed across the console. A signal, a human transmission, was being broadcast from the planet's surface. XYRL frowned and activated the feed. What they saw made their breath catch. A fleet of colossal ships was rising from Earth's surface, their gleaming hulls catching the light of the sun. They ascended in perfect formation, engines blazing with a power that should have been beyond human capability. "What is this?" XYRL whispered, their voice tinged with disbelief. On Earth, the atmosphere was electric. Crowds gathered at spaceports across the globe, their eyes fixed on the sky as the colony ships prepared for departure. Each vessel was a testament to human ingenuity, a floating city equipped with everything needed to sustain life in the depths of space. Captain Evelyn Carter stood on the bridge of the Horizon Dawn, the flagship of the fleet. Her heart pounded as she surveyed the control panels, each one manned by engineers and navigators working in perfect synchronization. "Final systems check," she ordered, her voice steady despite the weight of the moment. "Engines at full capacity," came the reply. "Life support systems green. Navigation locked." Evelyn took a deep breath. This was it, the culmination of decades of planning, sacrifice, and hope. Earth was no longer a viable home. If humanity was to survive, they had to venture into the unknown. "Commence launch sequence," she said. The engines roared to life, and one by one, the ships ascended. The ground trembled as the fleet broke free of Earth's grasp, leaving behind a world ravaged by climate change and conflict. As the Horizon Dawn cleared the atmosphere, Evelyn allowed herself a small smile. "We did it," she murmured. "We're finally free." XYRL watched in stunned silence as the human fleet disappeared into the void. The Zereth had always dismissed humanity as primitive, incapable of escaping their cradle. And yet, here they were, embarking on a journey that defied all expectations. "This changes everything," XYRL said, their voice trembling. "Alert the High Council. They need to see this." The transmission was relayed across Zereth space, sparking a wave of disbelief and concern. Humanity's sudden leap into interstellar travel was not just unexpected, it was a potential threat. The High Council convened immediately, their voices echoing through the Grand Chamber. "This cannot be allowed," declared Councillor Verith, their tone sharp. "Humans are reckless, destructive. If they spread beyond their planet, they could destabilize the entire region. But they've already left," XYRL pointed out. "We can't stop them now." "Then we must intercept them," Verith replied. "Deploy a fleet. Ensure they never reach their destination." Unaware of the Zereth's intentions, the human fleet pressed on. Their destination was a planet known as Epsilon Prime, a lush, Earth-like world located in the Goldilocks zone of a distant star. It was humanity's best hope for a new home. The journey was arduous. The ships encountered asteroid fields, radiation storms, and technical malfunctions. But through it all, Evelyn and her crew persevered, driven by the knowledge that failure was not an option. "We're not just carrying supplies," Evelyn said during a briefing. "We're carrying the future of our species." Remember that, as the fleet approached Epsilon Prime, the mood aboard the Horizon Dawn shifted from determination to awe. The planet loomed ahead, its surface a patchwork of green forests, blue oceans, and golden plains. For the first time in years, Evelyn felt a spark of hope. But that hope was short-lived. The Zereth fleet appeared without warning, their sleek, black ships emerging from hyperspace in a coordinated formation. Evelyn's heart sank as the alien vessels surrounded the human fleet, their weapons systems glowing ominously. "This is Commander XYRL of the Zereth Empire," a voice boomed over the comms. "Your presence here is unauthorized. You will turn back immediately." Evelyn squared her shoulders, her voice calm but firm. "We mean no harm. storm. Our planet is dying. We're simply looking for a place to call home. Your intentions are irrelevant, XYRL replied. Your species is a danger to the galaxy. We cannot allow you to settle here. The standoff was tense. The humans, outnumbered and outgunned, had no choice but to comply. But as the Zereth ships began escorting the fleet away from Epsilon Prime, a sudden explosion rocked the Horizon Dawn. What the hell was that? Evelyn demanded. Unknown, shouted one of the engineers. It wasn't us. Chaos erupted as more explosions tore through the Zereth fleet. Evelyn's eyes widened as she realized what was happening. The planet, she said. It's defending itself. The story builds as the humans and Zereth are forced to work together to uncover the mysteries of Epsilon Prime. The planet's defenses, remnants of an ancient civilization, challenge their perceptions of power and cooperation. Through shared struggles, both species learn to set aside their prejudices, forging an alliance that changes the course of galactic history. The realization that Epsilon Prime was not just a planet but a sentient, ancient entity changed everything. Its defense mechanisms, triggered by the presence of two alien fleets, had made it clear that it would not tolerate intrusions. On board the Horizon Dawn, Evelyn convened an emergency meeting with her senior staff. We need to find a way to communicate with it, she said, pacing the room. If this planet is alive, then maybe it can understand us. That's a big if, Malik said, his brow furrowed. And even if we can communicate, what makes you think it'll listen? We don't have a choice, Evelyn replied. It's either that or we get annihilated. Meanwhile, aboard the Zereth flagship, XYRL faced their own challenges. The sudden activation of Epsilon Prime's defenses had thrown their fleet into disarray, and their council was demanding answers. This was supposed to be a simple containment mission, Counselor Verith snapped during a heated transmission. Now we're dealing with a planet that can fight back? We underestimated the humans, XYRL admitted, and we underestimated Epsilon Prime. But I believe there's an opportunity here. An opportunity? Verith scoffed. Explain. If we work with the humans, we might be able to deactivate the planet's defenses, XYRL said. But we need to act quickly. The longer we wait, the more we risk total destruction. Reluctantly, the Zereth and human fleets established a temporary truce. A joint task force was formed, comprised of scientists and engineers from both sides. Despite their mutual distrust, they began working together to decipher the signals emanating from Epsilon Prime. The breakthrough came when Dr. Anika Rao, a linguist aboard the Horizon Dawn, discovered a pattern in the planet's energy fluctuations. It's a language, she said, her voice tinged with excitement. A mathematical language. XYRL, observing from the Zereth side, was impressed despite themselves. Humans are more resourceful than I gave them credit for, they admitted. Using the newfound language, the task force sent a message to Epsilon Prime, explaining their intentions and pleading for understanding. For hours, there was no response. Tension hung heavy in the air as both fleets braced for the worst. Then, the planet responded. The message was not in words, but in vivid, holographic imagery. It depicted the rise and fall of an ancient civilization, the builders of Epsilon Prime, who had created the planet's defenses to protect their legacy. But the images also showed something more, a warning. The builders had vanished, consumed by their own hubris, leaving their creation to guard their empty world. Evelyn watched in awe as the holograms unfolded. It's trying to teach us, she said, to show us the consequences of our actions. But not everyone was willing to listen. Counselor Verith, growing increasingly impatient, ordered an attack on the planet's core. We can't afford to waste time on diplomacy, they declared. Destroy the defenses and secure the planet. The decision proved disastrous. Epsilon Prime's defenses retaliated with unprecedented force, disabling several Zereth ships and causing chaos across the fleets. XYRL, furious at Verith's recklessness, took command of the Zereth forces and ordered a full retreat. With the Zereth fleet in disarray, Evelyn seized the opportunity to broker peace. She reached out to XYRL directly, proposing a radical solution. Instead of claiming Epsilon Prime, they would leave it undisturbed and work together to find a new home. You're asking us to trust you, XYRL said, their tone skeptical. I'm asking us to trust each other, Evelyn replied. Neither of us can survive this alone, but together we might stand a chance. The alliance between the humans and Zereth marked a turning point. Combining their knowledge and resources, they developed a plan to deactivate Epsilon Prime's defenses without harming the planet. It was a risky endeavor, requiring precise coordination and unwavering trust. The final phase of the mission brought Evelyn and XYRL face-to-face on the planet's surface. The air was thick with tension as they approached the central nexus, a towering structure pulsating with energy. Are you sure about this? XYRL asked, their claws flexing nervously. No, Evelyn admitted, but it's our best shot. Together, Together, they activated the sequence, sending a cascade of energy through the nexus. For a moment, it seemed as though the planet would retaliate. But then, the defenses powered down, their glow fading into silence. A collective sigh of relief swept through the fleets. For the first time, the skies above Epsilon Prime were calm. In the weeks that followed, the humans and Xerath began laying the groundwork for a new future. Epsilon Prime, now a protected world, became a symbol of what could be achieved through cooperation. The colony ships, once symbols of desperation, were repurposed into research vessels, exploring the galaxy in search of new opportunities. Evelyn and XYRL, once adversaries, found themselves working side by side. Their unlikely friendship became a testament to the power of unity in the face of adversity. "We were wrong about you," XYRL said during a quiet moment aboard the Horizon Dawn. "Humans are unpredictable, but perhaps that's your greatest strength." Evelyn smiled. "And you're not as heartless as we thought." As the first Human-Xerath alliance was officially recognized, both species prepared to face the challenges of the galaxy together. The stars stretched out before them, filled with infinite possibilities. Humanity had taken its first steps into the unknown, and the journey was only beginning. Months after the alliance was formed, the human and Xerath fleets began collaborating on a massive expedition to chart the unclaimed regions of the galaxy. The two species, once divided by suspicion and prejudice, now worked as partners in an endeavor that would redefine their place in the universe. Evelyn and XYRL stood side by side on the observation deck of the newly commissioned exploration vessel, the Unity's Horizon. Below them, a bustling hangar was filled with joint crews from both species, their interactions a blend of curiosity and camaraderie. "Who would have thought this would happen?" Evelyn said, her tone light but thoughtful. "2 years ago, we were strangers, enemies even." XYRL's mandibles twitched in what passed for a smile among the Xerath. "Strange things happen when survival is on the line. Necessity forces adaptation. But I will admit, I never imagined we'd reach this point." Evelyn turned to face him, her eyes searching his alien features. "Do you regret it?" "Regret?" XYRL's compound eyes flickered with a faint glow. "No. If anything, I'm intrigued. Humans are unlike any species we've encountered. Your unpredictability is both fascinating and infuriating." Evelyn laughed. "I'll take that as a compliment." The expedition's first destination was a star system known as Nix 47, rumored to hold remnants of a long-forgotten civilization. The journey there was uneventful, but as the Unity's Horizon entered orbit around the system's fourth planet, the crew's excitement turned to apprehension. The planet's surface was dotted with colossal structures, their jagged spires piercing the clouds like ancient guardians. Strange energy readings emanated from deep within the ruins, their frequencies unlike anything in the human or Xerath databases. "This place gives me the creeps," Malik muttered as he studied the holographic projections. "It's like it's alive." Evelyn shared his unease but kept her voice steady. "We didn't come all this way to turn back now. Assemble an away team. I want boots on the ground within the hour." The descent to the planet's surface was fraught with tension. The shuttle passed through turbulent storms, their energy fields crackling against the hull. When they finally landed, the team disembarked into an eerie silence, the air heavy with a sense of foreboding. XYRL, clad in a lightweight exosuit, scanned the area with a handheld device. "The energy signatures are growing stronger," he said. "They're coming from beneath the surface." Evelyn nodded, her hand resting on the holstered sidearm at her hip. "Let's move out. Stay alert." The team ventured into the ruins, their path illuminated by faint, bioluminescent patterns etched into the stone walls. The deeper they went, the more alien the environment became. The architecture was unlike anything they had encountered before, its design defying conventional logic. "This doesn't feel like a ruin," Malik said, his voice hushed. "It feels alive." He wasn't wrong. As the team reached the central chamber, the ground trembled beneath their feet. A low hum filled the air, growing louder with each passing second. Before anyone could react, the walls came to life, their surfaces rippling with energy. A towering holographic figure materialized before them, its form shifting between humanoid and abstract. "Who dares trespass?" The figure boomed, its voice resonating through the chamber. Evelyn stepped forward, her heart pounding. "We mean no harm," she said. "We're explorers, seeking knowledge and understanding." The figure's gaze seemed to pierce through her. "You are neither the first nor the worthy. Turn back or face oblivion." XYRL interjected, his voice calm but firm. "We are not your enemy. We come in peace, as representatives of two species seeking to forge a new path." The figure paused, its form flickering. Two species, allied, improbable, and yet the hologram dimmed and the chamber fell silent. Then, without warning, the floor beneath them began to shift, revealing a hidden passage leading deeper into the planet. I guess that's an invitation, Malik said, his voice tinged with nervous laughter. Evelyn glanced at XYRL, her expression a mix of determination and caution. Let's find out what this place is hiding. The passage led to a massive underground complex, its walls lined with rows of what appeared to be stasis chambers. Inside each chamber was a figure, some humanoid, others distinctly alien, suspended in a state of preservation. This isn't just a ruin, XYRL said, his voice tinged with awe. It's a vault, a repository of knowledge and species from across the galaxy. Evelyn approached one of the chambers, her fingers brushing against the glass. Who built this? She murmured. And why? As if in response, the holographic figure reappeared. This vault was created by the XALTHOR to preserve the legacy of the galaxy. Only those who prove themselves worthy may inherit its wisdom. And how do we prove ourselves? Evelyn asked, the hologram's gaze fixed on her. Unity. Only through unity can the vault be unlocked. The challenge set before the humans and Zareth was daunting. To unlock the vault's secrets, they had to demonstrate their ability to work together, overcoming their differences and building on each other's strengths. The process was grueling, testing not only their intelligence but also their trust in one another. Arguments flared, tensions rose, but slowly progress was made. For every setback, there was a breakthrough, and for every moment of doubt, there was a spark of hope. In the end, it was Evelyn and XYRL who completed the final task together, their combined efforts unlocking the central chamber of the vault. As the massive doors creaked open, a blinding light filled the room, revealing a treasure trove of knowledge and technology that had been hidden for millennia. This changes everything, Evelyn whispered, her voice trembling with awe. XYRL nodded, their expression unreadable. Perhaps the Zalthor were right. Perhaps unity is the key to survival. The discoveries within the vault propelled both species to new heights, their alliance cemented by the shared responsibility of preserving and utilizing the Zalthor legacy. Together, they began charting a new course for the galaxy, one defined not by conquest, but by cooperation. As Evelyn stood on the bridge of the Unity's horizon, now the flagship of a united fleet, she allowed herself a rare moment of reflection. We were wrong about them, she said quietly, and they were wrong about us. But maybe that's the point. Maybe the only way forward is to keep proving each other wrong. XYRL, standing beside her, tilted their head in agreement. To defy expectations, to challenge assumptions. That is the essence of evolution. The stars stretched out before them, infinite and uncharted. And for the first time, humanity and the Zareth faced the future not as adversaries, but as allies. The journey had only just begun. As the united fleet of humans and Zareth began to explore the uncharted regions of the galaxy, the Alliance faced its most significant test yet. The discoveries within the Zalthor Vault had opened new opportunities but also revealed old dangers, threats that neither species could face alone. One such threat emerged on the fringes of a dying star system. An automated defense network, a relic of a forgotten war, identified the fleet as a hostile entity and launched a barrage of attacks. The fleet's shields held for only a few moments before the onslaught began to tear through their ranks. Evelyn's voice cut through the chaos on the Unity's horizon. All ships form a defensive formation, redirect power to shields and return fire. XYRL, seated at a nearby console, worked furiously to analyze the enemy's attack patterns. These weapons are far more advanced than anything we've encountered before, they said. If we don't disable them soon, we won't survive. Malik, coordinating with the engineering teams, chimed in. We might be able to use the Zalthor technology from the vault to counter their systems. But it's risky. We haven't fully integrated it yet. Do it, Evelyn said without hesitation. We don't have a choice. The plan was audacious, bordering on reckless. Using the Zalthor's ancient algorithms, the fleet attempted to override the defense network's targeting systems. Engineers from both species worked side by side, their combined expertise creating a solution neither could have achieved alone. As the network's weapons faltered, the fleet seized the opportunity to strike. A coordinated barrage from the human and Zareth ships destroyed the central hub, silencing the automated defenses. The victory came at a cost. Several ships had been lost, and the survivors were left to grapple with the reality of what lay ahead. If this is what's waiting for us out here, Malik said grimly, we're going to need more than an alliance. We'll need a miracle. The aftermath of the battle brought both species closer together. The shared struggle had forged bonds of trust and respect, but it also raised difficult questions about their future. As the fleet regrouped, Evelyn and XYRL convened a council of leaders from both species. We've proven we can work together, Evelyn said, but this alliance can't just be about survival. It has to be about building something greater, something that will endure. XYRL nodded in agreement. The galaxy is vast, and the challenges we face are unlike anything we've encountered before. But I believe that unity is the key to overcoming them. The Council agreed to formalize the alliance, creating a framework for governance, resource sharing, and mutual defense. The decision marked the beginning of a new era, a united front in the face of an uncertain future. The fleet's next destination was a star system known as the Veil, a region shrouded in mystery and surrounded by dense, glowing nebulae. According to the Zalthor records, the Veil contained a megastructure known as the Nexus Array, a device capable of manipulating spacetime. The journey to the Veil was fraught with challenges. Navigating the nebula required precise coordination, as its energy fields disrupted sensors and communication. The fleet relied on the Zaratha's advanced navigation technology, combined with the humans' knack for improvisation. As they approached the Nexus Array, the fleet encountered a new obstacle, a faction of rogue AI drones, remnants of an ancient war. The drones, driven by corrupted programming, attacked without warning, forcing the fleet into a desperate battle. Evelyn and XYRL once again found themselves leading the charge. The rogue drones were relentless, their numbers seemingly endless. The fleet's weapons systems were pushed to their limits, and casualties mounted with each passing hour. "We can't keep this up," Malik said, his voice strained. "They're overwhelming us." XYRL's mandibles clicked in frustration. "There's a pattern to their movements. If we can exploit it, we might be able to disrupt their command structure." Working together, Evelyn and XYRL devised a strategy to target the drone's central control node. It was a risky maneuver, requiring the Unity's Horizon to lead a direct assault while the rest of the fleet provided cover. The plan succeeded, but not without cost. The control node was destroyed, and the surviving drones scattered, but several ships were lost in the process. The fleet limped toward the Nexus Array, battered but determined. The Nexus Array was a marvel of engineering, its massive rings spinning in perfect harmony. As the fleet approached, the array activated, its energy fields pulsing with an otherworldly glow. The crew of the Unity's Horizon marveled at the sight, their exhaustion momentarily forgotten. "This is it," Evelyn said, her voice filled with awe. "The key to everything." The array's activation triggered a series of holographic projections, displaying information about its purpose and capabilities. The device had been designed by the Zalthor to stabilize collapsing star systems, creating safe havens for life in the galaxy's most hostile regions. But the projections also revealed a warning. The array's power came with great risk. If misused, it could tear the fabric of spacetime, creating catastrophic rifts that could consume entire systems. Evelyn and XYRL stood together as they studied the projections. "This is bigger than either of us," Evelyn said. "If we're going to use this, we need to be absolutely sure we know what we're doing." XYRL nodded. "Agreed. The stakes are too high for recklessness. We must proceed with caution." The story builds toward a climactic decision, whether to activate the Nexus Array to save a collapsing star system at the edge of the Veil, risking catastrophic consequences. The decision forces the humans and Zarath to confront their deepest fears and beliefs, ultimately proving that unity and trust are the keys to overcoming even the most impossible challenges. The decision to activate the Nexus Array weighed heavily on Evelyn and XYRL. The collapsing star system, home to millions of lives across its inhabited planets, had mere days before the gravitational forces of its dying sun would destroy it entirely. Activating the array offered a slim chance to save them, but failure could unleash a catastrophe that would ripple across the galaxy. Evelyn stood on the Unity's Horizon bridge, staring at the holographic projection of the system's impending collapse. Her crew waited for her orders, their faces a mix of determination and fear. "If we don't try, those people will die," Evelyn said, her voice steady but tinged with uncertainty. "But if we fail, we could lose much more." XYRL, standing beside her, folded their arms. "The risks are enormous, but so are the stakes. I believe the Zalthor intended this technology to be used in moments like this. We just need to trust that we can succeed." "Then we do it," Evelyn said firmly. She turned to Malik. "Prepare the array for activation. Coordinate with the Zarath engineers. I want everyone ready for anything." As the crews of both species worked tirelessly to prepare the array, tensions ran high. The intricate systems of the Nexus Array required precise calibration, and even a minor error could spell disaster. Arguments flared as human and Zarath engineers clashed over methods and priorities, but Evelyn and XYRL intervened, their united leadership keeping the team focused. "This isn't about who's right or wrong," Evelyn said during a particularly heated debate. "It's about saving lives. We either work together or we fail together." XYRL added, "The Zalthor designed this array to require collaboration. That's not a coincidence. It's a test, and we cannot afford to fail." As the final preparations were completed, the fleet positioned itself itself around the array, their ships serving as stabilizers for the immense energy that would be unleashed. Evelyn and XYRL stood side by side in the command center, their gazes locked on the central control panel. "Once we start this, there's no turning back," Evelyn said. "I know," XYRL replied. "Let's make it count." Evelyn took a deep breath and activated the sequence. The array roared to life, its rings spinning faster and faster as energy built to a blinding crescendo. Beams of light shot from the array, enveloping the collapsing star system in a web of stabilizing force fields. The ground beneath the Unity's horizon trembled as the ship's sensors struggled to keep up with the cascading data. For a moment, it seemed as though the array would succeed. The star's violent implosion slowed, its energy contained within the shimmering fields. But then, an unexpected surge of power erupted from the array, sending shockwaves rippling through the fleet. "Containment is failing," Malik shouted. "The array systems are overloaded." Evelyn's mind raced. "Divert power from the fleet's shields to reinforce the array. It's our only chance." XYRL nodded in agreement, issuing the same command to the Zareth ships. Together, the fleet channeled their energy into the array, stabilizing its systems just as the containment fields began to collapse. The star, once on the brink of destruction, grew calm. Its energy stabilized, the system was saved. Cheers erupted across the fleet as the realization set in. Against all odds, they had succeeded. The victory was bittersweet. The strain on the fleet systems had taken its toll, and several ships were heavily damaged. But the knowledge that they had saved millions of lives outweighed the cost. Evelyn addressed the fleet in a broadcast that echoed across both human and Zareth channels. "Today, we proved that unity is more than an ideal. It's a force that can shape the future. Together, we've achieved the impossible. And together, we'll continue to defy the odds." XYRL, addressing the Zareth Council in a private transmission, said, "The humans are not what we expected. They are chaotic, unpredictable, and often reckless. But they are also capable of greatness. This alliance is our future." The events surrounding the Nexus array solidified the bond between humans and Zareth. Joint exploration missions became the norm, and the two species began sharing technology, culture, and knowledge. The once divided fleets merged into a single force, the Unity Armada, dedicated to exploration and protection. As the Armada ventured deeper into the galaxy, they encountered new civilizations, some welcoming, others hostile. Each encounter tested the strength of their alliance, but the lessons learned from Epsilon Prime and the Nexus array guided them forward. Evelyn and XYRL, now co-leaders of the Armada, became symbols of what could be achieved through cooperation. Their partnership, once marked by skepticism and mistrust, evolved into a friendship that inspired those around them. "We've come a long way," Evelyn said during a quiet moment on the Unity's Horizon observation deck. "But there's still so much to do." XYRL nodded, their gaze fixed on the stars. "The galaxy is vast and unpredictable. But with you, Captain Carter, I believe we can face whatever comes next." The final act of the story sees the Unity Armada facing their greatest challenge yet, a mysterious entity known as the Voidborn, an ancient intelligence that threatens to unravel the fabric of space-time itself. The Armada must confront not only the Voidborn but also their own fears and limitations, proving once again that unity is the key to survival. The journey is far from over, but humanity and the Zareth have taken their first steps toward a brighter future. Together, the Unity Armada's journey to confront the Voidborn marked a turning point in their alliance. The ancient intelligence, an amalgamation of consciousness and energy, had begun tearing through the fabric of space-time, consuming entire star systems in its wake. Its motives were unclear, but its destructive path left no doubt about the threat it posed. Evelyn stood in the Unity's Horizon War Room, her leadership team gathered around a holographic map displaying the Voidborn's trajectory. The data was grim. If left unchecked, it would reach the heart of the galaxy within months, destabilizing the core and triggering a cascade of collapses. "This isn't just about survival anymore," Evelyn said, her voice steady despite the weight of the situation. "If we fail, the galaxy as we know it ends." XYRL, ever the pragmatist, studied the projections with a critical eye. "The Voidborn's energy patterns are unlike anything we've encountered. Conventional weapons will be ineffective. We'll need to adapt." Dr. Anika Rao, who had been instrumental in deciphering the Zalthor technology, spoke up. "The Zalthor left records of an experimental device, a resonance cannon designed to neutralize entities like the Voidborn, but it was never tested. Activating it could be as dangerous as the Voidborn itself." Evelyn exchanged a glance with XYRL. "We don't have a choice. If this is our only chance, we have to take it." The Armada's journey to the site of the resonance cannon was fraught with peril. The Voidborn's presence warped the very fabric of space, creating gravitational anomalies and energy storms that threatened to tear the fleet apart. Several ships were lost along the way, their crews sacrificing themselves to protect the armada. "We're running out of time," Malik said during a tense briefing. "The Voidborn is accelerating. If we don't reach the cannon soon, it'll be too late." "We'll make it," Evelyn replied, her determination unwavering. "We have to." The resonance cannon, located on a desolate moon orbiting a dying star, was a relic of unimaginable power. Its massive structure, half buried in the moon's surface, radiated an eerie glow as the armada approached. As teams from both species worked to reactivate the cannon, tensions ran high. The ancient device was complex, its systems requiring precise calibration. Any mistake could trigger a catastrophic chain reaction. "This isn't going to work," a Zareth engineer muttered as they struggled with the controls. "It will if we stop arguing and start cooperating," Malik shot back. Evelyn and XYRL intervened, their leadership keeping the teams focused. "Remember why we're here," Evelyn said. "This isn't about us. It's about saving everything we've ever known." As the Voidborn drew closer, its presence began to affect the crews. Nightmares plagued their sleep, and a sense of despair settled over the fleet. Evelyn and XYRL worked tirelessly to keep morale high, reminding their people of the stakes and the strength they had found in unity. "We've faced impossible odds before," Evelyn said during a fleet-wide broadcast. "And every time we've proven that together, we can overcome anything. This is no different," XYRL added. "The Voidborn believes it can break us. It doesn't understand what we're capable of. Let's show the final confrontation was a battle unlike any other." As the Voidborn loomed over the moon, its energy tendrils reaching out to consume the armada, the resonance cannon roared to life. Beams of concentrated energy lashed out, striking the entity with a force that shook the entire moon. But the Voidborn was resilient. It retaliated with waves of energy that disabled several ships and threatened to destabilize the cannon. Evelyn and XYRL led the charge, their ships acting as decoys to draw the Voidborn's attacks away from the cannon. "We need more power," Dr. Rao shouted as the cannon systems began to overload. "Divert everything we've got," Evelyn ordered. "Shields, weapons, life support, everything," XYRL nodded. "If we fall here, we fall together. But we will not fail." In a final, desperate push, the resonance cannon unleashed a pulse of energy that resonated with the Voidborn's core. The entity let out a deafening roar as its form began to unravel, its energy dissipating into the void. The fleet watched in awe and relief as the threat was neutralized. The cost was high. Many ships were lost, and the cannon itself was destroyed in the process. But the galaxy was saved. In the aftermath, the Unity Armada was celebrated as heroes. The alliance between humans and Zareth was stronger than ever, their shared sacrifices forging an unbreakable bond. Evelyn and XYRL stood together on the observation deck of the Unity's horizon, gazing at the stars. "We did it," Evelyn said, her voice filled with both pride and sorrow. "But at what cost?" "The cost was great," XYRL replied, "but so was the reward. We've proven that unity is more than an ideal. It's a force that can change the galaxy." As the stars shimmered before them, the two leaders knew that their journey was far from over. The galaxy was vast, and there were countless challenges yet to come. But they would face them together, united by a shared purpose and an unshakable belief in the power of cooperation. The story of humanity and the Zareth had just begun. In the months following the destruction of the Voidborn, the Unity Armada became a symbol of hope across the galaxy. Stories of their courage and unity spread far and wide, inspiring other species to seek alliances and foster cooperation. The Armada returned to Epsilon Prime, the site of their first major triumph, to establish a central hub for interstellar diplomacy. The planet, once a battleground, was now a beacon of collaboration, its cities filled with representatives from dozens of species working together to build a better future. Evelyn and XYRL presided over the inaugural session of the Galactic Unity Council, a new governing body designed to address the challenges facing the galaxy. As leaders from every corner of the known universe gathered in the Grand Chamber, Evelyn took the podium. "We stand here today not as humans or Zareth, but as members of a united galaxy," she said, her voice echoing through the chamber. "Our differences make us stronger. Our diversity is our greatest asset. Together, we can overcome any obstacle." XYRL followed, their tone measured but firm. "The journey ahead will not be easy. There will be disagreements, conflicts, and setbacks. But if we remember what brought us here, our shared commitment to unity, we will prevail." The council erupted into applause, the sound resonating like a promise of a brighter future. Back aboard the Unity's horizon, Evelyn found herself reflecting on the journey that had brought them to this moment. She stood alone on the observation deck, gazing at the stars, when XYRL joined her. "You seem deep in thought," XYRL said, their voice gentle. Evelyn smiled smiled faintly, just thinking about how far we've come. It's hard to believe we were once enemies. Enemies born of misunderstanding, XYRL replied. But through understanding, we became allies. And through that alliance, we became something greater. Evelyn turned to face them. Do you think it'll last? This unity we've built. XYRL's mandibles twitched in what Evelyn recognized as a smile. I do, because we've proven that even the most unlikely partnerships can thrive. And because there is too much at stake to let it fall apart. The story concludes with the Armada embarking on a new mission to explore the uncharted regions of the galaxy, seeking out new allies, knowledge, and challenges. The Unity Armada, now a symbol of hope and resilience, set a course for the unknown, their ships shining like beacons against the endless void. As they disappeared into the stars, the message they carried was clear. Unity is strength, and together, there is no limit to what can be achieved. As the Unity Armada ventured further into the galaxy, they discovered regions untouched by any known species. These uncharted territories were filled with wonders, nebulae that sang in harmonic frequencies, planets teeming with bioluminescent life, and ancient ruins holding secrets that predated even the Zalthor. One such discovery was a crystalline world orbiting a binary star. The planet's surface was covered in massive, translucent structures that refracted light into dazzling rainbows. As the fleet approached, their sensors detected faint energy signatures deep within the crystals. It's beautiful, Malik said as the Unity's horizon entered orbit. But I have a feeling it's more than just a pretty face. Dr. Rao nodded, her gaze fixed on the readings. There's something alive down there, something ancient. Evelyn and XYRL led an away team to the surface, their boots crunching on the crystalline ground. The air shimmered with iridescent colors, and a gentle hum vibrated through their suits. This place feels alive, Evelyn said, her voice hushed. As they ventured deeper into the crystalline formations, they encountered an entity unlike anything they had seen before. A massive, pulsating crystal floated above the ground, its surface swirling with patterns of light and shadow. When Evelyn approached, the patterns shifted, forming shapes that resembled symbols from the Zalthor archives. It's trying to communicate, XYRL said, their tone awestruck. With the help of the Zalthor technology, the team deciphered the entity's message. It was a guardian of the galaxy's ancient energy flows, placed there by the Zalthor to maintain balance. The guardian warned of a disruption in the energy network, a result of the Voidborn's destruction, and urged the Unity Armada to help restore the balance. The mission to repair the energy network was the Armada's most ambitious undertaking yet. It required the combined efforts of every ship, every crew member, and every resource at their disposal. The work was grueling, pushing the fleet to its limits, but the shared sense of purpose kept them going. As the final connections were restored, the galaxy's energy flows stabilized, bringing harmony to regions that had been on the brink of collapse. The Crystalline Guardian sent a final message of gratitude before merging back into the planet, its mission complete. The experience left a profound impact on the Unity Armada. It reinforced their belief in the importance of unity, not just among species, but with the galaxy itself. Evelyn, addressing the fleet, said, "We've faced challenges that seemed insurmountable, and we've overcome them together. But our journey is far from over. The galaxy is vast, and there is still so much to learn, to protect, and to build. Let's keep moving forward." Together, XYRL, standing beside her, added, "The galaxy is watching us. Let us be the example they look to when faced with their own trials. Let us show them what unity can achieve." As the fleet set a course for their next destination, the stars stretched out before them, a reminder of infinite possibilities. The Unity Armada, now a beacon of hope, continued their journey into the unknown, carrying with them the lessons of the past and the promise of a brighter future.